Welcome back to Way Too Early on this Tuesday morning. It's just before 5:30 a.m. on the East Coast, 2:30 out west. I'm Jonathan Lemire. A new series of text messages shows just how far the Trump White House and allies were willing to go to overturn the 2020 election. They were provided to the January 6th committee by former Trump White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows and were published yesterday by CNN. One text message from Trump political aide Jason Miller, sent several days after Biden was declared the winner, flagged Meadows on an email Miller said he sent about Dominion voting machines. Quote, "Lots there regarding functionality problems, not much there on Dem-Soros conspiracy connections. We'll defer to you on whether or not to share full report with POTUS. POTUS is clearly hyped up on them, not just from his tweets, but he also called me and Justin separately last night to complain." Miller likely talking about Justin Clark, a Trump 2020 campaign lawyer. Jason Miller did not respond to a request for comment. On November 19th, records show that Meadows texted Georgia Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger to ask him to call the White House. A spokesman for Raffensperger said the Secretary of State didn't recall that text message, but he did recall one from December 19th, which also asked him to call the White House. His spokesman said Raffensperger thought it was a prank and did not respond. Trump finally got a hold of Raffensperger weeks later on January 2nd, where he made this now infamous request.
I only need 11,000 votes. Fellas, I need 11,000 votes. Give me a break. So, look, all I want to do is this. I just want to find 11,780 votes, which is one more than we have. There's nothing wrong with saying that, that you've recalculated.
I need 11,000 votes. Give me a break. There was also communication between Meadows and far-right Georgia Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene. On December 31st, 2020, she texted in part, "Good morning, Mark. I'm here in D.C. We have to get organized for the 6th. I would like to meet with Rudy Giuliani again. We didn't get to speak with him long. Also, anyone who can help. We are getting a lot of members on board, and we need to lay out the best case for each state." On January 17th, 2021, Greene texted Meadows again. "In our private chat with only members, several are saying the only way to save our republic is for Trump to call for martial law." She did not spell martial law correctly. She continued, "I don't know on those things. I just wanted you to tell him. They stole this election. We all know. They will destroy our country next. Please tell him to declassify as much as possible so we can go after Biden and anyone else." There were also several text messages that Meadows sent to Meadows on January 6th as members of Congress, Donald Trump Jr., and former Trump Chief of Staff Reince Priebus and Mick Mulvaney pleaded for the president in real time to call off his rioting supporters. NBC News has not been able to independently confirm all of the text messages. The January 6th committee refused to confirm the veracity of the texts and declined to comment on them. Joining us now, congressional reporter for The Guardian, Hugo Lowell, who's been on this story from the beginning. Hugo, great to see you this morning. The January 6th committee, well, they're not confirming it, but if these texts are accurate, what do they tell you about the direction this investigation is going?
Well, the Select Committee doesn't like to confirm the leak of any of their investigative material, so that's pretty standard fare for them. It doesn't mean it's true or not true, but my reporting suggests that they are true. I mean, I've verified some of the text messages myself through my own reporting. But the direction, in terms of the direction of the investigation, right, I mean, it shows just how much members of Congress and the White House were in constant communication in the days leading up to January 6th. And after January 6th, I mean, this text message from Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene is just extraordinary. Calling for martial law and then misspelling it over text is just really incredible. And it was, days before the inauguration. It was January 17 that Marjorie Taylor Greene sent this text. And it was already at a time when the White House was extremely fraught, as you know. So I think it just adds to the level of communication that the January 6th committee has to untangle.
Yeah, the sheer volume of text messages is simply enormous. Mark Meadows being the recipient of most of them. Walk us through a little more what struck you, whether it was from the notes from Jason Miller, those mentioning Justin Clark, the lawyer. You said Marjorie Taylor Greene and her unique spelling of martial law. What are some other standouts? What else do you think will attract the committee's attention?
Well, I think the one thing that really stands out is the fact that there are big gaps of text messages that are missing. It's not so much what Meadows turned over. I think what's interesting is what he didn't turn over, right? If you go back and look through the timeline, there's a big gap between December 9 and December 21, which is this really crucial period in the aftermath of the election, which the January 6th committee is really focused on because a whole bunch of events happened during that period. The first on December 14 was when the White House appeared to have coordinated fake Trump slates of electors being sent from various battleground states to Congress. That was the first thing. The second thing was midweek, Phil Waldron, one of these people affiliated with Mike Flynn, former National Security Advisor Mike Flynn, was briefing members of Congress and senators about supposed election fraud that the White House should have known about, and Meadows appeared to have known about. And then on the 18th, we have this crazy White House meeting, this Oval Office meeting with Trump and Patrick Byrne, the former CEO of Overstock, Sidney Powell, and Mike Flynn, where they discussed trying to seize voting machines. And it's because of that crazy meeting and the fact that it went so off the rails that Meadows then decides to bar Sidney Powell from the White House the following week. But we have no communications about this, none whatsoever, which makes me wonder whether Meadows really turned over all of the communications that he was supposed to, subject to a subpoena.
Yeah, no, that's a great point as to what we don't know yet. Hugo, lastly, give us a quick sense as to how you perceive the next steps of the January 6th committee's investigation. What should we be looking for?
I think it's going to be very difficult to figure out and see based on what they do publicly. But I do know from my reporting and my sourcing on the committee that they are starting to wrap this investigation up. They're very much in the tail end of this investigation now. They've been trying to look at connecting Trump top down to the Capitol attack through members of Congress, but they're also trying to look at connecting him from the bottom up. They're looking at the Oath Keepers and the Proud Boys militia groups that stormed the Capitol, seeing if there are any conduits through political operatives and other intermediaries that connect back to the White House. So they're going at it from both directions: the red team, the purple team, the gold team. The Select Committee is divided into several color-coded teams to investigate what happened on January 6th. And I think they're all coming back to the nexus of all of this, which appears to be Trump.
Hugo Lowell from The Guardian, we really appreciate it today, and we will talk to you again soon on this story. Still ahead, we're live with CNBC for an early look at Wall Street following a strong start to the trading week. Plus, what Elon Musk's takeover of Twitter means for the future of the social media platform. That's straight ahead on Way Too Early.